This is Suburban On Air and Cohen in the City. Here is Mike Cohen.
Dearest stranger that I know. When I think of you, my heart beats in 4 directions. Not just in a forward thump, but a thick rattle. Like a garbage truck or a dangerous snake. If my chest were a birdcage I could unlock, or an oven I could open, I would let you see what you do to my heart.
Well, with Love, major organ, it premieres at movie theaters across Canada, April the 12th. And joining me are two of the stars, Anna Maguire and Hamza Haq. The film is set in an alternate reality in which all human individuality and emotion has been suppressed by technical modification. Life decisions like careers and relationships are mediated by a computer application called Life Zap rather than personal passions. Emotions are explored only in facilities that resemble escape rooms. I had to read all that because no one's going to understand what we're talking about unless I give it a little bit of a preview. Anna, you play Annabelle, who's one of the few remaining people who still experiences a world of individuality and emotion. And you fall in love with George, played by Hamza, a man who is part of the dominant paradigm and who rejects her because Life Zap has not selected her for him. And I saw the movie. In fact, I had to watch it more than once to take notes to really fully comprehend what was going on. I enjoyed it. It's really out of the box. So, Anna, what is a heartbroken girl to do? You just do what every other girl would do. You removed your heart, right?
Yeah, don't we all do that? Isn't that how we're surviving nowadays? I think it's a sort of it sounds far-fetched, but actually I think it's closer to our reality than I think we'd maybe all like to admit. And I think it's Annabelle and George are both outliers actually, because George, we learn, was born with a different heart to everybody else as well, or not born with, but was
artificially replaced without his knowledge.
And so it's sort of they're kind of almost two ends of a spectrum. And they in a way, I guess, are sort of drawn to each other. They have to meet to be able to find their way through to what the future might look like, but individually. So it's, I guess, in a weird way, less of a love story and more of a self-love story.
Yeah, a reunion.
Yes, absolutely. It was definitely like when you first meet in that park, wasn't your typical, oh, I'm going to fall in love with that guy. He really drives me crazy. But so Hamza, George receives the heart and he places it in his own chest. I mean, people are listening to this. They have to see it to believe it. And you begin to, your character begins to experience genuine emotion and individuality for the first time in your life. And you could see it in the character as it evolved when that happened.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's a credit to the writing that I get the opportunity to explore that. George gets this chance of a lifetime to, how often is it that a girl gives you her heart? And I think we could throw that question into the universe, into the public, to be just like, what exactly do you do when somebody gives you their heart? And I don't think a lot of people would behave much differently than George either. I think this is an extreme reaction of really, like Anna was saying, it's much closer to real life than we know it. People run away. People don't exactly know what to do with it. People make it about themselves until they realize that, okay, when somebody gives you their heart, you owe responsibility to that person as well. And what's great is we see George come to terms with that in various different ways.
Yeah, it feels like it's a film about like interdependence, independence, and sort of trying to figure out how not to be codependent, actually, in many ways. And it's this sort of journey of all these very, very human and very, very actually sort of universal experiences.
There are a lot of life lessons if you look at the movie as a whole. I would say for sure. Anna, what did you think about the script when it first came across your desk?
Well, I've been involved in the film for quite a long time, actually. I read the play previous to the script, and I was
Right.
part of the development actually of the writing, because Julia and I worked together on a short entitled "It's Nothing" that I directed and developed a few years back now. So I've been part of the world, so to speak, for a while, and I mean, I've always loved Julia's writing. I think she's a really unique voice, and I love how Kim brings worlds to life visually. And so I sort of, for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer that this was a sort of match made in heaven for these two. And then I kind of got to be able to be part of it and develop Annabelle as well. I had the luxury of being able to develop Annabelle with them, not just sort of having to sort of fit into a narrative. And I felt that to be really really lucky. And then I think that was part of what we also wanted Hamza to feel as well, is to be able to take it and do something with it that was his own, and feel sort of, yeah, that it was, that you could be, that George was your creation too.
Yeah. Yeah, I did feel liberated. I was encouraged to take so many risks. You know, after doing something that's dramatic and doing something, you know, so many political things in that sense, to finally get the freedom to do uh, uh kind of whatever you wanted on camera, and to have artistic collaborators like Kim Albright, like Julia, like Anna. It was just okay, cool. Let's try something we haven't done before. And I have phenomenal acting coach, Michelle Lonzil Smith, who really, you know, we sat down and we combed through the entire script to be just like, all right, here's something that you haven't explored on camera yet. Let's try this. Try to
Right.
sit with yourself a little bit longer, and really ask yourself these questions on how you feel about the things that you feel about.
Because however absurdist the film is, it is very much grounded in real
Very.
emotions. And I think the only way any kind of magic realism or absurdity or sort of conceptually highfalutin ideas work is ground it in reality and
Yeah.
real emotions.
Hamza, of course, you're best known for your leading role of Bashir Hamad in the medical drama series Transplant, which is filmed here in Montreal, and you've told me you've lived in Montreal now for 10 years. What do you think Dr. Hamad would think about someone pulling their heart out?
I think he, I mean, especially for those of you who watched season 4, and how that how a heart transplant didn't go the way that we wanted, I think he would stay as far away from that as he possibly could. He'd just have trauma flashbacks of the love of his life dying on that table. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think he'd chalk this up to, he'd give this to Aisha Issa's character, June Curtis, who's
There we go.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's it. We'll shout out for Aisha.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time in Montreal filming that show. It's finished now, right? There's no more seasons.
Nope. We're all done.
Yeah. Did we ever wonder why they just didn't have it in like it was filmed in Montreal? I think at the old Royal Victoria Hospital. I think he did a lot of stuff.
I think we filmed we filmed once or twice there, but most of it was done in studio in La Salle.
Which is where I just came.
Yeah, she was just filming there the other day.
I was just shooting Sarianne Cormier's first feature, Au revoir Pluton. So I just flew in this morning from that.
How do you speak? You speak? Was that in French? Was that in French?
Yeah, I live between Toronto and Montreal, and my mum's from Trois-Rivières, so I've grown up.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Vous voulez, on peut continuer en français.
On pourrait le faire, mais tu sais, c'est pour une publication en anglais.
Well, your French is. How's your French, Hamza? Hamza, how's your French?
J'étais en immersion française depuis le 6e année, alors je suis à peu près complètement bilingue.
You're from where originally, Hamza?
Originally, I was born in Saudi Arabia to Pakistani parents, but I moved to Ottawa when I was 10.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah, I went to Carleton, finished my university, and then I've been in Montreal since 2013.
Okay, that's terrific. So Anna, you've had a very successful acting career, and when I was going through your CV, it's hard to believe. I don't know. You look too young to have been in Saving Private Ryan. That was way back when. That was a long time ago. What was that like? What was the role you played, and did you get to meet Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks?
I did indeed. They were really lovely. No, there's a little French girl in a scene when Vin Diesel gets shot, so Français. And
I'm
yeah.
learning this. I had no idea.
You had no idea. There you go.
And yeah, so it was
A humble actress.
my second role, actually.
Oh.
My first role was an opera, but yeah, my first on-screen role, and yeah, I just I fell into it. It was quite a random and long, winding story, but yeah, it was pretty great. My mum was chaperoning, and it was during the time of the Tamagotchi, so she had to keep all the Tamagotchis of like everyone's children during the shoots.
Yeah.
Interesting. Your viewers will see one of your press attaches just gave me the 2-minute warning, so I'm going to wrap up with one question each. More, Hamza, I will talk about one last question about Netflix. About Transplant. It's just amazing that it's now on Netflix, so people all over the world are watching this show.
Actually, it's only available on Netflix in Canada so far.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
And then, yeah, we have to wait till it runs its course in the States before hopefully getting global distribution.
Okay. See, that's how Netflix tricks you. You don't know. You just go on Netflix, you see it, you figure everyone can see it. That's right. It's different, but that's a good sign for the future. And I'm going to ask you, Anna, one last question, and that is, what would it be like for someone to actually live without a heart? Because we saw you in the film, we saw your character. When there was no heart, you were very cold, you were very mean to your best friend. And, you know, some people have a heart in their body, but they're heartless.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big questions that Julia, the writer, is asking is, how do we live in the world with our hearts, with our vulnerabilities, with all of those things, and how do we keep it open and like a lantern, like Annabelle's heart is a lantern, how do we keep it sort of emitting light and calling people in, because the world is a really, really dark place often, and it's easy for that light to go out. And so how do we stay human in an increasingly inhuman world? And I think that's the heart of the film on many levels, and
very well said. Very well said. So people are going to have to go out and see the movie. I hope I've teased them enough. Thank you very much for your time, and best of luck.
Thank you.